And I've told you before, I remember my first internet experience that I really remember was other than just straight up AOL. I was being at a friend's house. I think this might even be before AOL, and his dad had CompuServe, and you could go into. There were a couple of chat rooms, and one for politics, one for sports, and just there were people chatting, and it was like I was in a spaceship, man. It was crazy. I remember seeing that, and the whole, obviously you've got mail and these things that we all got used to and then learned to forget very quickly because we changed our habits on the web. But back to the problem that I see arising here, the evangelists that are out there for the web in Silicon Valley, we're quite aware of their politics. Peter Thiel, there are some exceptions, but overwhelmingly they are left. Overwhelmingly, they are progressive, and this fight that's happening under the Trump administration and even before, of course, during the primary, this argument over the truth and reality and facts, and you can get into that moment of the alternative facts discussed by Kellyanne Conway, that is just going to become a bigger and bigger focal point of all this. They're going to look for ways to sift out news sources and people and information they don't like and do it under the guise of this is fake news. Do it under the guise of this is the way that we get around censorship. It's really stealth censorship, or it's censorship by expanding definitions to include just things you don't like and pretend that it's information that is reckless or information that is that is unacceptable to be out there in the public sphere. So I do have my concerns about this. I see this return to an era where the left has such a dominance over the narrative day in and day out, and Google and Facebook and these other platforms are just going to play a very big role in all of this. They're going to be really involved in determining what you see. And keep in mind, this isn't a First Amendment issue in terms of the law. It may be the spirit of the First Amendment, free exchange of ideas and free expression. But if Facebook wants to show you Huffington Post all day long, that's what they can do. They can do that. And if they want to hide The Blaze from you, if they want to hide National Review from you and Fox News, they can do that. And the only way you can deal with it is to be aware and to try and reward search engines and sites that don't engage in this kind of stuff. But keep in mind, when you're talking about Google, I mean, how many of you use Google? These companies also just have giant ATM machines that they run in the sense they just, with the public stock, they've got so much money. They can do whatever they want. But I like corporations. Just not corporations that can brainwash the whole country if they choose to, more or less, without anyone being able to stand in their way. It's a little terrifying. It's the way the media used to be. They want that back. I mean, could you imagine anything that would be cooler than being a network anchor back in the 60s or the 70s? No one really to challenge you. No one can even find your old broadcast. You just go on TV, create a brand night after night, say whatever the heck you want. No accountability. You just look the part, sound the part, get paid a lot of money. Sound like Ron Burgundy, but hey, probably was a lot of fun. All right, team, we got more. I'll be back in just a second. 888-900-3393 if you want to sneak in a call before we close out. Otherwise, back in a few.
This is the Buck Sexton Show.
The Blaze Radio Network. Buck Sexton.
Oh, team, so good to have you with me here today. I'm in for Rush tomorrow, so this is really my last opportunity for this week to get a chance to talk to you. And I have all sorts of... Well, first of all, anytime I get to fill in for Rush is obviously... I was about to say it's a rush, but I didn't mean that as a terrible pun. But it is so cool, and every time I do it, I try to keep Facebook and Twitter open because I know I can get some members of the team getting me fired up and making sure that I do a Team Buck-worthy show on the very large platform, the much bigger platform of the EIB. So I appreciate those of you that can join me for that. It does feel like you give me home team advantage even when I'm playing an away game. Although, Rush's folks are always so good to me. Even the audience I'm talking about, they're always very kind and very supportive when I do all of that. And I've been thinking a lot about this recently. I've been doing radio now. It'll be, I think this might be the fourth. I think I'm coming on the fourth year of radio here shortly. Right around now. I think I started 4 years ago. I should have done the math and made sure that I'm not running off the rails. Yeah, I think it was 4 years ago. I've been doing radio for 4 years. And many of you have been with me for those 4 years. You really do feel like friends and my extended radio family, as I say, and I really mean that. I spend a lot of time with all of you, and because of the ways we can communicate, email, you can call in, and Facebook and Twitter and all the rest of it, I do feel very much like I know a lot of you. I don't have anything specific to share with you right now on this front, but I would just say that there's some really exciting stuff on the horizon, and I'm really glad that I have all of you with me because I'm looking at some very interesting ways to expand on what I'm doing here with you day in and day out in the Freedom Hut. Obviously, many of you have seen me popping up on Fox more. We're looking to take the Freedom Hut. We're already national, but we're looking to make this quite a big thing and to expand our own family here. And I'm hoping that in the days ahead, I'll have some really exciting announcements about Team Buck and additional ways to listen to Team Buck and all sorts of things like that. So I know that's vague, but I just wanted to give you that here on Thursday before we head off into the weekend, so I won't be with you tomorrow. I will be with you on Monday, as always, Shield time.
The Buck Sexton Show.
Only on the Blaze Radio Network.